PokemonChallenges released a video saying that the following Pokemon are F tier in a Fire Red Leaf Green Nuzlocke: Charizard, Porygon, Ditto, and Lickitung. So today I'm going to prove him wrong and show that these Pokemon are worth your time, as I hardcore Nuzlocke Fire Red and Leaf Green with F tier Mons. These team members are labelled a detriment to your run if you even get one in your playthrough, and of course I'm going to use all four. Sticking with no items in battle, level caps and all that usual hardcore Nuzlocke stuff. Without further ado, let's get into the challenge. Out of every starter Pokemon, I don't think you could pick a worse one than Charmander. It's weak to the first two gyms, and is going to make this challenge an uphill battle from the start. Unlike the best starter Pokemon, which is Bulbasaur, who is super effective against the first two gyms, resistance against the next two gyms, we don't talk about Sabrina and Blaine. Training on the route with Mankey after getting our starter, mainly the ones that are level 2 and 3 to maximise our attack EV yield, meaning our physical attacks will hit harder, which is imperative, as our only super effective move against Brock is Metal Claw. Into the Brock battle and he leads with Geodude, which is a free shot, only because it used Defense Girl, and using Metal Claw also gives us the attack boost, which is massive. He now goes into Onix and it has the super effective Rock Tomb, but we'll only use that move if it is slower than your Pokemon, meaning that because Charmander is slower than Onix, we can just Metal Claw past it while it uses Bind. But we take out Onix using the +1 attack boost from Metal Claw, and that means my hypothesis of Onix only using Rock Tomb when it's slower than you means that it must be correct. But we won't be able to get past the Misty battle with that level of cheese. I'm not looking forward to this next gym, let's actually get there first however. Oh, but what a journey we have ahead. Getting to the next gym we have to avoid as many trainers as possible, but there are a lot of mandatory ones on the way to the next gym. On this route, Charmander evolves into Charmeleon when battling the two mandatory trainers in Mount Moon, getting the fossil and teaching Charmeleon Mega Punch. Mega Punch versus Mega Kick is a dubious decision, as one has better power but lower accuracy and one has better accuracy but lower power. It's mainly just what you want in your Nuzlocke, if you want luck or luck with slightly better power. We also learned Smokescreen at level 20 and beat the rival, but only because his Pidgeotto didn't use Sand Attack. After edging to the level cap, we can take on the hardest gym in this run, holding a Person Berry on the off chance we survive a Water Pulse but get confused. Now this does take numerous attempts. How many exactly? I don't know, I can't really count that high, but it was a lot. But being this gym, and hence this challenge, may be extremely difficult, but it is not impossible. As every minute detail has to be perfect: high rolls, low rolls, critical hits and the like. And on one lucky occasion out of probably 400, I'm not even exaggerating that number, I got all the luck I needed to beat Misty. The guy who did this challenge originally, and was my inspiration for this video, used a Goldeen in this gym, as he could use Pokemon in the C tier and below. Even though with great EXP management you could potentially get a Meowth South or Cerulean, because you can't legally get Goldeen at this point in the game. But as I have shown, it is possible with just an F tier Pokemon. But now we are already at the next gym's level cap and have about 15 mandatory trainers on the way to Lieutenant Surge. Yeah, I don't think that we're staying under the level cap, but we can try. I got myself an EXP sink in the form of Spearow, and being transparent, I did use it against some random trainers to keep Charmeleon as low as a level as I could. But who really cares about these random trainers anyway? Despite this, we do go one level over the level cap with our only usable Pokemon, and the only way I think I could have stayed below this level cap was to capture a full team and swap between them all, or hack in some EXP shares for them all to have. But this would have been time consuming for the swapping out method, and not really legit for the EXP share method. Being the rival on the boat, and that is the only mandatory trainer on the ship. Teaching Charmeleon Dig will help us beat Lieutenant Surge, but even though I am one level over the level cap, well 2 since we level up in the battle after taking out the Pikachu and Voltorb, it's still tough, as we're basically on par now with a fully evolved Raichu. Our super effective Dig cannot even take it out in one hit, and it does some decent damage to us, but we do manage to knock it out and get the third gym badge, and now we've got a bit of leeway with our level cap. But we can also finally get some new encounters. Now that we've defeated the gym, we just have to zip through Rock Tunnel and then get to Celadon so I can get my second encounter at the game corner, which is a Porygon for a total of 9,999 coins. But if you're playing Leaf Green like I should have done, it will only be 6,500 coins. Now I have beaten Red and Blue with just this expensive digital monster, but using level caps and now actually having a physical special split, this is going to make things a lot tougher. After using all of the £3.55 that I have got from my YouTube revenue, I loaded it with TMs after buying it, loading it with Shockwave, Ice Beam and Psychic, and trained it up in the grass gym with these powerful moves. Charmeleon is obviously going to do really well in here with just Ember. We could have taught it Flamethrower from the game corner however, a move it would normally learn at level 34, but even with just Ember it was a blowout regardless. And after this gym we now have a massive level cap increase, and also some new team members to catch. After clearing out both the Rocket Hideout and the Pokemon Tower, beating Giovanni and the rival, then carried on to get the Super Rod where I can capture a Psyduck and evolve it into Golduck immediately. But Golduck is a tier 2 good for us, so I trade it away for Mark the Lickitung. Oh hi Mark. Why is it called Mark? I have no idea. Why Mark with a C and not a K? Too many questions to answer in such little time. While training for the next gyms however, I get some HMs in the Safari Zone and go into the Silphco building to save the region, but more importantly, level up my freaky tongue monster and evolve my false little dragon into a false little dragon with wings and insane market ability. Before opening up the next gym, I have to beat the rival, and the main trouble is the defensive monster of Blastoise, and then the fast but frail attacker of Alakazam right afterwards. I do manage to get past the rival but have to utilise all of my team. I also have to use them for the Giovanni battle as well. He's not as difficult, but now I can either face Koga or Sabrina since both gyms are open, and have the exact same level cap. I do feel a bit more confident facing Sabrina, which is a sentence that no one has ever said before. But it's either Koga's defensive gym or Sabrina's offensive gym. But we've got the TM for Shadow Ball and put it onto Mark, and with Ghost moves being physical in Gen 3, it will go well against Alakazam's poor physical defense. I did start how I wanted to go on with Shadow Ball taking out Kadabra and Mr. Mime after it has all the Hyper Potions wasted on it. And with Venomoth, I swap into Charizard to burn it into dust. With Lickitung really weak however, I do have to keep Charizard in and then swap to Porygon to take some strong Psychic Blasts. But with Alakazam wasting a turn with Future Sight, it gives us a free turn to attack and get the win versus Sabrina. Jumping straight to Koga's gym, and Porygon with Psychic is great here of course, but his team do have very high defense stats, not that you'd know from his coughing that went down in one hit. His Muck is a real pain with Acid Armor and Minimize, but we managed to get it out. Coughing number 2 are defeated, and his last Pokemon, Wheezing, is taken out with help from Charizard. And fire and toxic gases do not normally go well together, exploding the gym and burning it to the ground. Sorry Koga, you'll either have to rebuild the gym or move to the Elite Four. We now have the ability to surf and head to Cinnabar to get our next gym badge, but we can also get our final encounter, a Ditto in the basement of the Pokemon Mansion. Ditto needs no introduction as to why it's in F tier, as it is a very situational Pokemon if you want to use it as anything but a meat shield. It would also be extremely rare to get as an encounter for your Nuzlocke, seeing as you have to go all the way to the basement pretty much to have the best odds to find it, and then do a repel trick of sorts to actually be able to try and find it. But even then you're not guaranteed it. After that I got the team to the level cap, and also Ditto, he's there too, and fight Blaine. We took down most of his team pretty simply, and only won because we got a clutch takedown miss on Arcanine. Water Pulse on Lickitung wasn't really doing what I thought it would do, and I had to use the whole team yet again, as Lickitung's water-based slobber just didn't take his team out. But after getting Blaine's badge, we can now battle all the gym leaders in the Viridian Gym for level up purposes, and head straight into his battle, clearing his team with no issues. Nidoqueen was the only thing to make me sweat a bit, but even then it wasn't too difficult. Lickitung's Water Pulse actually really helped here against the 2 times weak Rhyhorn, just to keep Charizard healthy to battle the Nidos, who are really strong. And with that we have our entire team ready for the final battles of the game. I did some grinding for the final rival battle before the Victory Road, as he is just over the previous level cap. He's very strong with our team still not having a clear counter for Blastoise or Alakazam, but we do manage to get through eventually. It just takes a lot of swapping out. I'm really scared for the final champion battle, if we can even make it there that is. Going through the victory road and maxing out our EVs for your training, we are ready for the Elite Four, and my team is pretty much as good as we can make it, including getting some items like the Magnet for Porygon and the Charcoal for Charizard. The Metal Power for Ditto might have been good as it doubles its defense stat, but its defense stat, like all of its other stats, are terrible, plus it doesn't raise its defense once it transforms, which is like its only gimmick. I also got the leftovers by catching 40 Pokemon and getting the item finder, which I obviously did. The hardest challenge is the first battle against Lorelei. Porygon is our only outage to her team as it counters Charizard as its mainly water type, and Porygon's high special attack and electric moves really help us out. Lapras is however the big threat as Ditto has to come out and soak up some damage for some cleaner switches in. The rest of the team, especially Jinx and Cloyster, were no issues after that pretty tricky start. But after having to utilise all my brain, I wasn't really worried for Bruno, much like no one ever is. Mark can take out the Onix with Water Pulse, and Charizard can just Aerial Ace the Hitmons in his Machamp. The latter does survive a hit, but it just uses Scary Face and Bulk Up rather than the 4x super effective Rock Tomb. I mean, Rock Tomb could have got the speed drop as well, plus damage, so it's a pretty redundant move to have on his moveset, but Bruno is never beating the terrible allegations with these decisions. Time for Agatha, and her team is a bit scary if they get statuses off like Sleep or Toxic Poison, and also scary because ghosts are scary. Ooh, ghosts scary! Her first Gengar is a bit of a pain with Confuse Ray and Double Team, but Porygon has upgraded its antivirus, so it's not going to work against our digital dude. And Porygon may actually not be F tier if you could actually evolve it before the post game. But that's not really relevant as you can't evolve it before the post game, much like Golbat, which is also taken out with Charizard's raw power. But it is now on really low health alongside Porygon. Ditto gets some screen time, and its last screen time ever as it feints the Sludge Bomb, but this does allow a free switch in to Mark the Lickitung, using Shadow Ball to take out the last Gengar and Haunter after it uses Curse to help us take it out. That was a very close battle, and with Ditto now gone, we have one less team member, which means we have one less free switches as well. Thank you for your service, Ditto. It may be F tier, but for being an A tier switch in for Mark, we will press F to pay respects. The final battle of the Elite Four versus Lance, and Porygon is the lead after swapping around a few items, landing a Thunderbolt on Gyarados that is of course a one-hit KO. Aerodactyl lands some good damage on Porygon, but I need its Ice Beam for later, so I swap into Mark. Mark manages to take out the Aerodactyl and it's Dragon time as Dragonite comes in. Lickitung lands Toxic on the outraging Dragonite as it heals with a Citrus Berry I have equipped. This allows us to outlast another Outrage for the confusion and extra turn of poison damage. I swap into the full health Charizard as Dragonite lives on a single pixel, but manages to KO itself with confusion. Mark coming in absolutely clutch there. But sadly, Charizard cannot one-shot the following Dragonair as we get the worst paralysis luck in the world, but still managed to outlast Dragonair and take it out thanks to leftovers. And for that last Dragonair, with more paralysis pain, we land a crit to take it out, and can now battle the champion in a 3v6 with a lower level than his team. Can we do it? There's only one way to find out. Was PokemonChallenges right to call these Pokemon a detriment to your Nuzlocke run? Or was he just not as good as me as Nuzlocking? Maybe I will be the pro Nuzlocker after this. Before the battle, I did do some moveset changes like giving Sunny Day to Lickitung for a special tactic, and moving around some items to help us with this final battle. Pidgeot is his lead as I lead Porygon, and uses Feather Dance first turn to lower our non-existent attack stat, landing Thunderbolts either side of him healing up, and take it out after taking damage from Aerial Ace. Alakazam takes Porygon into the red as we try and bait a status with Tri-Attack, which we didn't get, and also goes off the -2 attack stat, which was extremely silly of me. I swap into the Licking Legend of Mark as Alakazam sets up a Future Sight and Reflect, reducing the damage from Strength. But after taking a strong Psychic, Mark lands a critical Strength that blasts through the Reflect and takes out Alakazam. One of the main threats down, but with our team in really poor shape already. He now sends in Exeggutor, and I am not too worried about it at all as Charizard is still full health and available. We do take some Future Sight damage and get put to sleep via Sleep Powder, which is a bit annoying. Aerial Ace after we wake up does next to nothing after the previous Reflect still lingers. and Executor lives on a sliver of health and is healed. Charizard lands 2 flamethrowers after this to take out Executor, but now our entire 3 Pokemon team is on really low health. Blastoise comes in, and this is going to get scary. It has the potential to take out my entire team here as I swap into Porygon, and look at this level of luck that you are about to see. Blastoise misses not 1, but 2 80% accurate Hydro Pumps as we land a Tri-Attack with no status, but I'll take the misses instead. Then it misses a 3rd Hydro Pump in a row as we land the super effective Thunderbolt and get the Paralysis. And thanks to the Paralysis cutting Blastoise's speed, we can outspeed and use a final Thunderbolt to take out his starter. PokemonChallenges then sends in a Rhydon who takes out Porygon the Electric Soldier to allow a free switch into Mark. Mark tanks an Earthquake and lands a critical hit Water Pulse on Rhydon to make it a 2v1 in our favour. We have turned this around spectacularly. This luck is insane and probably the only way this was going to be possible, much like beating Misty. But we aren't done yet as he sends in his Arcanine. It outspeeds Mark with extreme speed to make it a 1v1 fire matchup for the last stand, very anime style. But our Charizard is not going to go to sleep here. It lands an extreme speed for some low damage and we Earthquake to make it a potential 2-shot. But Charizard survives a final extreme speed on 9 HP. Let me count it, that's single digits 9 HP, and we land the final Earthquake against all odds and beat the rival. And thus I've beaten Pokemon Fire Red with only F tier encounters as a hardcore nuzlocke. Yeah, this was an extremely hard challenge with lots of luck in the Misty battle and the champion battle. But it's still possible. You just need extreme luck with your team's IVs, appropriate EV training, item and move optimization, which is obviously more effort than it's worth to get out of these Pokemon. So maybe just capture something else on the way, maybe a Spearow, maybe get a Caterpie, because these are probably potentially better encounters for you. Porygon being our only out and out special attacker with a great move pool, Charizard is in general strong and Game Freak's Golden Goose, so of course it's gonna be good. Lickitung is kinda bulky and does a decent job soaking up some damage with a funny name. And Ditto, yeah, I kind of agree with Pchal here. That's F tier, so maybe skip that encounter if you get it. But as I said, it's extremely rare that you're going to get it as an encounter. So if you do get it as your encounter, you're either extremely lucky or unlucky. I guess it depends on how you view it. It's like getting a lottery ticket, but being out by 1 number each time. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed that video. That was an extremely tough challenge. Like and subscribe and maybe consider memberships if you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel further. My name is Super123 and I will see you all next time.